How's everybody doing? This is Kung Tran, your instructor, and this week we are going to learn how to create lip syncs. What are lip syncs? Lip syncs are the shapes, well, it's the act of your character talking. You are going to create these things called phonemes, and phonemes are the individual mouth shapes that form a specific letter or word or vowel. Is that you? No. Yeah. Anyways, phonemes are used to be brought together to create this lip sync, so that your character can, animate. So here's what I want you to do first. Okay, I want you to go onto the good old Google, the good old interwebs. Hold on, let me grab this view real quick. There we go. And all you gotta do, type in lip sync phonemes. Cool, lip sync phonemes, and you get all sorts of lip sync phonemes here. The one that I like to use is this one by John Kelly. Thank you, John Kelly, for drawing this. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lip phonemes for us to use, okay? And the order is important later, so more to come there. So what you want to do is you want to click View Image, and then from here, you just want to right-click and Save As, okay? I've already saved it, so I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Okay, back into Adobe Animate. So what you need to do is go over here to and hit Action Script 3. Boom. Now you need to change this to 1280 by 720. Boom. Just like that. Okay. Hitting Command or Control minus and plus will allow you to zoom in, zoom out, space bar to pan left and right. Here we go. So what I'm going to do first is create a simple character. Okay, so this is this is the ugliest character ever, but heck, there we go. And actually, I'm going to make this guy yellow. Boom. Okay. Then so just imagine like, okay, I've drawn my whole face. There we go. So here we go. Here's their whole face. Then we're going to convert this into a symbol. And we're going to call this character underscore face. Make sure this is a graphic symbol here, and then hit OK. And so now we have a symbol of a face. What you want to do now is double click on this symbol so that we can drill inside of the face, like so. Okay. So here we go. We're going to rename this face. And basically, we're going to draw our face inside this symbol here. As you can see, this breadcrumb tells us where we are at. So I am in the character underscore face symbol. So now I'm going to make a mouth one. Okay. And okay, and then I'm going to draw my mouth. So I like to use the pencil tool, and then make sure you change the pencil tool to, I don't know, let's do darker red. Make sure this right here isn't on straighten, it's on smooth, and then make sure this right here is turned off, otherwise you're going to have lots of problems later, okay? But yeah, definitely make sure object drawing is turned off. It's activated by hitting J. So don't hit J. Here we go. Anyways, boom, boom, boom. Make sure you say boom, boom, boom when you're making these too. That's important. Okay. So I used my selection tool, which is V on the keyboard. V is in Victoria, and then which will allow you to select these and allow you to edit these and delete them as you go. Alright, so now I'm going to double click on the mouth, and then I can make this bigger, smaller. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Then we're going to right click and hit convert to symbol, and we want to change this to mouth. Boom. You want to draw a closed mouth first, okay? So make sure the mouth, the first shape that you draw is closed. There we go. So now we're going to line these two. Delete that. Okay, we're going to come back to that later. So here's the mouth. Q on my keyboard, Q like Quentin, will allow us to free transform this around. Okay, so now here we go. This one would be called the mouth. We're going to create a new layer, and this will be the layer where our reference images will sit at. Okay, so I'm going to go to File, Import to Library. So remember the image that I downloaded earlier? Boom, there it is. If I open this and import it, now it's in my library. Okay, I can then drag this over, zoom out, Command minus, hit Q on my keyboard to resize this. Q as in Quentin. Okay, so now, so the reason why we wanted to draw a closed mouth first, because the closed mouth is already drawn here. It's the mouth's phoneme. Shift Y will allow you to go back to pencil. So I forgot the bottom lip here. Boom. Boom. There we go. So there it is. So now you want to draw each and every one of these here, okay? So let's rename this to reference. Then we're going to lock it because I don't want to mess with it anymore. Okay, so this keyframe is the oh, dang it. See what I did there? So I drew this on the reference layer, which is not what I want to do. So you want to hit Control X for cut, and then click on this layer here, and then hit Control Shift V for paste in place. Control Shift V as in Victoria. Okay, here we go. So now we've done drawn that, we need to drag this to number 7. So 5, 6, 7. Okay, and then down here, just hit F5 for add frames, okay? And really, it should be to 9, because there's 9 phonemes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, okay? So now that's, so with anything, you want to make sure, you know, all of your layers has something there to the very last frame. Otherwise, it's going to be empty. It's like, this is how I know it's something there. Now it's empty, see? Because this is hollow and this is now darkened, the same color as this here. So now we need to draw, you know, our mouth shape. So let's start with number 1. We're on frame 1. See, this says frame 1. So we need to draw the A one, okay? So back to our pencil tool. Make sure you're on the mouth symbol. Okay, I'm just going to go. A. Okay, so that's the A. Then what we're going to do is turn our onion skin on to make sure this is relatively the same size as the other one that we created. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is turn off onion skin. Then we're going to fill this in a little bit. I like to use the dark gray. See, so when this happens, it means that there's a tiny gap in there somewhere. So easy way to fix that is changing gap size. So let's change this to large gaps. There we go. Okay, so now we've got a mouth here. The first mouth phoneme, so this is 1. So number 2, hit F6 and then delete so that we can see where we're at. Turn back on our onion skin lower the range of the onion skin so that we can, see the previous frame. The next one we're going to draw is E. So Shift Y for your pencil tool. E has a bigger mouth. Okay. And obviously this isn't going to be super duper pretty because I'm trying to draw relatively fast for the sake of time. Okay, so I purposely drew over these lines because I was going to use my selection tool, which is V for Victoria, on my keyboard and to select and delete. Now if I hit the left bracket and right bracket, I can traverse through the timeline, allow me to pick up these colors here. I'll go ahead and fix that error. So right caret key, which is the lesser and greater than sign on your keyboard, if you don't know what a caret is. There we go. So now that is done. F6, delete, turn back on the onion skin, change my range so that it doesn't get overpopulated. Shift Y for my pencil tool. Draw this a little bit wider. For I. Okay. Let me draw this out. Using V for Victoria, I can grab these lines and delete them. Turn off my onion skin so I can grab these colors. Hit right greater lesser sign so I can traverse through the timeline by frame. There we go. So now we got 3 going on. Okay. F6, hit delete. Now we need to make an O. This one right here. So O. This one's pretty easy. It doesn't have like some teeth, so it shouldn't take us too long to draw. So there's the O. I'm going to hit F6, delete. This is basically the basics of frame by frame right here. Like what I'm doing here, it's the same technique as using frame by frame. The only difference is we're going to use a technique that will allow us to pick and choose which frame we want to use for when we do the lip sync. And actually, this technique that I'm going to show you can translate to other techniques. For example, you can change out hand symbols, or you can change out feet symbols depending on if you need like a more organic bend, or you can, I'm trying to think of other stuff you can do. You can make your character blink. That's using the same technique. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in. It's not feeling. It's because these strokes are so thick, kind of hard to see. I'll have to turn this to not close. Oops, large X. Well, that did it. Close medium gas. There we go. All right, cool. So now we got 7 frames. We only, 7 mouse shapes. We only have 2 more to go. Here we go. And this could be as like detailed as you want. I mean, like you don't have to draw, you know, make it look just like this. I'm just doing it for the sake of time. But you can draw this as detailed as you want, because, you know, in the end, we're not going to be drawing this over and over and over like traditional frame by frame. We're going to use a frame switching tool that will allow us to switch out different pictures depending on the situation that we need it to fit. There we go. Grab this color, fill that in, grab this color. Looks like I went outside of the mouth, so let me go back inside of the mouth. There we go. Fill that in. Now I need to pick a random red color. Fill that in. Okay, cool. So now there's that. And then for the last one, F6, delete. I'm just going to shift Y for the pencil tool. S's are much smaller. And actually, I'm just going to draw a line. There we go. All right. So now I have my mouth phonemes. Let's turn this onion skin off. It'll do this. I can get rid of these reference here. Let's go outside here. So if I added more frames, here's what it'll do. It'll loop just like it should. But right now it doesn't look like it's saying much, right? So what we need to do is select the symbol, go over here to Properties, Looping, set it to single frame. And set the single frame to 7. Boom. Okay. Yeah, 7. So now we need it to say something, right? So let's go find the sound effects. Now you can use audio clip, like audio recording system, and record your sound. But I like going to 11 seconds club. There we go. And going over here to their archives and picking out a random, or picking out a sound effect that you want. It's already been cut to 11 seconds, so you don't really need to, you know, do it anymore, or you don't need to do anything with the audio. So I would go this route. Let's download this random one right here. Okay, so now that's been downloaded. And again, it's called 11 seconds club, or 11 second club. Okay, so let me show you how to import audio. So you want to import to library, okay? Because you don't want to put it to stage because it won't do much. There we go. Here's the, and it's got to be a waveform, okay? So make sure it's a waveform if you're going to do recording, if anything. Hit open. There's my library. There's the sound there. So we're going to put the sound in this symbol here. And okay, so to apply the sound, you're going to need frames. Okay, so make sure you have lots of frames in here for it to show up. Then you're going to select each sound from within your library tab and drag it to the stage. So you want to drop it into the stage, not over here, because see the X here, and nothing's going to happen. So there it is. Drop it to the stage. And make sure your sound layer is selected, and it's got to be empty. Boom. Okay, so now your empty layer has a sound wave on it, and you should be able to hear sound. So we need this to be 11 seconds. So let's just select a section here, then hit F5 to add more frames here. And you can just keep adding frames until you see it get cut off. Right there. Okay. I'm going to remove that. The last thing we need to do is go here and change the properties of it, okay? Because here's what we want. We want to be able to scrub this from left to right, right? And be able to hear sound so that we can scrub in slow-mo and hear the phonemes in slow-mo so that we can match the lip syncing to the phonemes or the audio, or match the phonemes to the audio. To do that, you need to select one frame that has a waveform on it, and then your properties tab should change. And within sounds, there should be a sync one. You want to change it from events to stream. So when I do this, you see that? Now we hear sound. Hit enter. Okay. So I'm going to animate this part because I'm not going to do all of it. Your homework is to do all of it, okay? Your homework is to have eyeballs and nose and hair and a background and all of that stuff, okay? But just from the head down to the shoulders. You don't need to do more than that, okay? So I really want this project to be focused on just the lip sync. Here we go. So here's how you do it, okay? You need to first create a keyframe. Boom, keyframe. Also, make sure, and this will just help you out, but make sure you have this image printed out so that you can count, you know, okay, frame 1, frame 2, frame 3, frame 4, frame 5, and keep referring back to it. Because this sheet's going to help you decipher the sounds that you're about to hear, okay? So I'm just going to slide this off over here and keep it as a reference. So here we go. So she says, or he says, thing is, okay? So thing. Say thing, okay? So say thing. What does your tongue does? It does this, right? So this is frame 7. This is frame 8. So we need frame 8 for thing. So thing. So this would be the first one. Ang. And then the next one would be a. Thing. So actually it'll be thing. This, and then this. Okay, because we want the mouth to be open and then close a little bit. Thing. Okay, and I'm really just using my mouth as reference. So I'm saying thing, and I'm noticing what my mouth is doing. Okay, and so I'm grabbing these phonemes to accomplish that. Okay, so here we go. Thing. So this needs to be frame 8. Boom. So this should be frame 2. Because remember, 2, 1, 2. Thing. And actually, we don't really need that second one. But the S's, okay, so let's look at it here. Thing is, oh, actually, I take this back. This should be 1. The next one should be 2. Now, if I look at my chart, what makes that S sound? Frame 9, right? Because you get the S's here, okay? So that should be frame 9. So so let's look here. I is frame 3. So I really. So there's not really an R sound here, but I'm going to use this as an R because when I say r, my tongue kind of does a little flop thing. And then it does A. So boom, boom. Okay. So so frame 8. A. Lee. So that's an E. So that should be 3. Wait. Sorry, this should be 1. Going back to A, or 1, sorry, not A. Care. So let's look here. Is there a care one? Care. I'm going to use this one because it's got the C's here, most small. Yeah. So care. So for the C's, I'm going to use the last frame, which is 9. Care. So A. Care. Okay. So that is basically the basics of lip syncing here. Okay. Now, just as an extra bonus for you, I'm going to show you an even easier way. Okay. But this way kind of requires you to purchase a additional plugin. The plugin is called Keyframe Caddy. Now, you don't need to buy this Keyframe Caddy to do your homework, but it comes in handy, and you can only get it if you have like a cloud event. So kidcloud.com/tools. This actually may not be the site that we're looking for. I think this is it. Okay, so we can buy this here. It's 25 bucks. I know it's pretty steep, but if you got the dough, it'll definitely speed up your time, but not by much. And the instructions on how to do all this are on here. Okay, so I'm not gonna show you how to actually install this. You can figure it out on your own. You can actually try it too. You can hit try version, but also remember that will require you to have your own version of Adobe. Okay, so if you're at school, you won't be able to even use this. But just wanted to let you know so you can have an idea. So here's Keyframe Caddy. We're gonna load in graphics. It loaded in because I have this mouse shape selected. Care. Mark. So how am I doing this? There we go. So how did I do all that? Keyframe Caddy, basically what it does is it loads up the frames that are within this symbol. Okay, so you select the symbol with the frames inside of it. You hit load graphics, and then you can then use this as an image category, or not category, an image library. So any button that you select where your marker is, you can add a keyframe there automatically with the symbol. It comes in handy because it makes lip syncing really fast. Say so, both ways are super. I mean, both ways will work, but Keyframe Caddy makes it a lot easier. But you do need your own Adobe Cloud, and you do need to pay for this plugin. So, if your pockets are looking really tight, I wouldn't go this route. But the previous way works just fine, just by making sure you have your cheat sheet here and making sure you remember which frame you're wanting. So drawing it in order is really important as well. Okay. So both ways work just fine. It's up to you. If your pockets can handle this Keyframe Caddy, then go for it. But that is the technique. So what you need to do now is go back to scene 1. Now, scene 1, nothing's going to happen. And if I hit Control Enter or Command Enter, nothing's happening in the scene here. The reason why is because I need to make more frames on the stage. Let's see, how many frames was that? That was 294. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I go to 294. There we go. Then hit F5, and then boom, now I got enough. Okay, so if I do this, it's great, but there's no audio coming out. Okay, so I'm going to name this animation. What you want to do is also make an audio track out here. So what you should do, audio, is just go inside this symbol. We can then copy layer, go back here, right click here, paste layer, and boom, now you have the audio out here as well. Okay? So now we can go back and draw the rest of the body if we wanted to. I'm not going to, but you can. I mean, you should, because that's your homework. I'm going to quickly just draw him eyes. Boom. Boom. Okay, and we're going to turn this into a symbol as well. I'm going to call this eyes. And then same technique here. F6, we're going to make this smaller. If you hold down Shift, you can size it, you know, the way you should. Then F6, we're going to delete these and just draw out eyes. Okay, and then we're just going to clone this back. And actually, if I just leave it like that and go back into the scene, he'll blink randomly. See what I mean? So, I mean, that's basically it. Then, you know, then we need to draw the background and the rest of the character. And, you know, if you have two characters in the audio, you know, I'll draw another character and they can talk to each other. But the last step you need to do is just exporting this out as a video, like so. And then we can keep everything the same. Okay, so name this something, blah, blah, blah. And then we're going to export. So the thing is, you have to wait until Media Encoder pop up, and it'll pop up. The ones at school are kind of slow, so yeah, it might take a minute. But for mine, it's a little bit quicker. So once Media Encoder pops up, here it is. We need to keep this the same, but we need to change this to YouTube 720. And then make sure this is in Dropbox. So I have my Dropbox installed. You don't have to if you don't want to, but it makes it easier so you don't have to log into Dropbox. And then hit play, and it renders out. Well, and then that's it, and that's what you turn into Dropbox and the transfer share. So if you have any questions, let me know. Again, you are required to have a full lip sync, have a full character, have background, and if your audio has two characters, then you would then have to lip sync both characters. Now for the ones that want to do their own lip syncing, you can use audio software. I use GarageBand because I have a Mac, and it's pretty easy. All you got to do is hit open it, select voice, and this is pretty similar to any Adobe software, not Adobe software, but any audio recording program. It's easy as pie. Basically, all you do is you just select your layer, make sure it's aimed. Okay, check, 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 and then you hit record, and yo, 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 I'm recording right now. And then you hit stop, and then you're gonna go to File, Share, Export to Disk. That's fine. You want to make sure MP3 should be fine. Export, boom, boom, boom. Close, don't save. And now if I wanted to import that into here. Okay, so here's my recording. Finally found it. Drag this right into the library. There it is. Okay, make a new layer and drag it into the stage. There it is. So that's how you do that, okay? Yeah, if you have any other questions, just let me know.